Willow, say the spell so I can regain my form, Willow. Willow, released in 1988, which is the same year I was born. I am just as old as this movie, which makes me feel kind of cool and kind of not because I'm very old. And this movie is directed by Ron Howard, who has also directed such films like Splash, Cocoon, Parenthood, Backdraft, Apollo 13, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, and Solo: A Star Wars Story. And this movie is starring Warwick Davis, Val Kilmer, Joanne Whalley, Billy Barty, and Jean Marsh. And I wanted to talk about Willow today because in a couple of weeks we are getting almost like our first sequel to this movie, but it's its own streaming TV show on Disney Plus, which is so out of left field for me, but hey, cool, it's a movie from the 80s and it's getting its sequel finally. I used to watch this movie so many times growing up. I felt like I knew it by heart, but I haven't seen this thing in a good 15, 20 years, and going into this, for this viewing, I had forgotten everything, but this movie is like the definition of when something came on screen of me just going, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh that's what he was saying. Do you have those movies that you watched so many times when you were like 4 or 5, kind of at that age where you were too young to comprehend exactly what was happening, but you really enjoyed watching it, and now watching it as an adult, you go like, oh, that's what they were talking about? That is this movie for me. It is foretold that a little child will be born one day that will finally take out the evil doings of Bob Morda. And it seems that that little baby has finally been born, and she is put in a basket and thrown down the river, hopefully saving her life. But the little child finds her way to the arms of Willow Offgood, who is an aspiring sorcerer in his village. And once word throughout the kingdom that this little child has gone missing, the village entrusts her care to Willow for him to take her to the outskirts of the village and given to the first person that he sees. And along the way, Willow makes friends with a whole bunch of people, an older Iceman, and we get a nice little swords and sandal adventure. Now, the first thing I need to comment on this movie is the frickin' poster. The poster art for this movie, we don't get posters like this anymore, but the artistry, the use of that red color in describing all of these different characters and who they are as people, oh, I fall in love with this poster every single time I see it. Now, this movie does come from Lucasfilm, so we do have George Lucas, the man who created Star Wars. We have a whole bunch of his influences in here. In particular, the great Ewok adventure type influences. But in typical George Lucas fashion, we get a whole bunch of different iterations from a whole bunch of different classic works that maybe George Lucas or hell, even Ron Howard had great affiliation for when they were kids, and now here they're making a movie and it's like, oh yeah, I remember that book that I read, or remember that TV show that I watched when I was a kid. I just want to combine all of that stuff here and make it into one movie. We got Lord of the Rings in here, we have Jason and the Argonauts, we have character types like Han Solo and Princess Leia. The whole Saoirse and Madmartigan love story, hate-love relationship is Empire Strikes Back. It is pulled directly from that movie, and I never noticed it before. That Madmartigan, he is pretty scruffy looking. But even though this is pulled from a lot of different source material and kind of rearranged to make it its own thing, I'm still loving it, and I'm still having a great time watching this. If not just for nostalgia, it's a pretty nice and safe adventure story. Joseph Campbell would be proud of this thing. Our young hero, Willow, is trying to aspire to be something greater than just a farmer in his village, gets a call to adventure to take this baby out past his normal threshold, meets up with a whole bunch of people who are great swordsmen, like a young, handsome, beautiful Val Kilmer. And then you go into moments of despair where Willow has no idea how to care for the baby or how to save the baby or where to take the baby to ensure that her safety, until we get to a grand climax, and I would say it's pretty grand. I was thinking that it was more grand when I was a kid, and then watching it for this time, I was like, wow, that climax was actually pretty frickin' short. I wanted more of the sword and spears type stuff. And then we spent all of our time with a bunch of old women who were kept going ah to each other. I'm gonna kill the baby. I'm not going to let you. Patricia Hayes, who plays Rizelle in this movie, I never realized how annoying her voice was until I watched this movie this time. And wow, as a kid, how did I enjoy those parts? I don't think I did, actually. I think there were moments when I was a kid, and this is supposed to be like the good witch, the good wizard, and there are moments where she just frightened me. She's scarier than Bavardo, or whatever her name is. I can't remember. Bavmorda, okay. Yeah, that's not going to be the first time in this review that I'm going to mess that up. And speaking of, the whole pretext that we get before the film begins talks about the evil reign of Bavmorda, right? Yep, that's right. But we don't actually see it at all. We're told about it, but we never really see just why this person is evil, and why this prophecy of this child being born is so special and so great. Like, it seemed like Bavmorda was just a queen kind of doing her job. I didn't see any of the evil things that... Why do people hate her? And she doesn't do a lot throughout this movie. She kind of just stands around and is like, I need to perform the ritual. Get me the baby so I can perform the ritual. Because we all know what the ritual is of the foretold child that is coming to topple my evil reign, right? We all know what that ritual is, right? Let's perform the ritual. I want to perform the ritual. This time around, me being my educated self, I have a lot of questions. Where did this ritual come from? Who prophesies that this child's coming is foretold and will bring peace and balance to the world and the universe? How do you know that they carry a special birthmark? What power does that birthmark have? There are so many questions as to why the evilness in this movie is evil. But then we get Val Kilmer on screen and all those questions just go to the wayside. I don't care. It's a young Val Kilmer. He's dashing, he's brute, he's amazing, he's awesome, he's badass, he's cool. And he's a lot more lovable in this movie than what I remember. As a kid, I remember him being like the biggest asshole. I had recollections of him just hating on the baby, definitely hating on Willow, which, again, we get that here, so that all makes sense, but I thought there was more of it. He actually seems pretty captivated with the child the second that he lays eyes on her. You can tell that there's like a warmness that comes over him, and he's like, okay, yeah, I am gonna take care of this child. I am a scoundrel, I need to be going my separate way, but yeah, I'm actually gonna stick around and look after you guys, because I kinda care. That was shocking to me. I thought he was just more of an asshole. And Warwick Davis as Willow, I'm always happy for Warwick Davis getting like these lead roles, because he's in a lot of things and a lot of big blockbusters that you would never realize, because he's always behind a mask or something. He's in Star Wars, the original. He is in Return of the Jedi. He is in the Ewok Adventure. He's the levitation teacher in Harry Potter, and then he's also the band director in Harry Potter. So to see him here in a protagonist role where we're following him throughout his entire journey, his whole hero's journey, it makes me happy, and I'm so glad they're bringing it back for a Willow TV series. But if you want to talk about pointless characters, let's talk about Sorsha, who's on the frickin' poster of this movie. She plays into nothing. The only thing that she does in here is lead Willow and Rizal to the tower, to the evil tower, where Bavmorda is performing the ritual, which we all know what that is. But other than that, Sorsha does nothing. She's the daughter of Bavmorda, and apparently just decides to betray her mother because Val Kilmer is dashing and kisses her. Which, I guess, yeah, I just answered my question with that, so yeah, I guess that makes sense. But outside of that, she does nothing, and I never noticed it before because as a kid, I always just thought she was really pretty. Here, she is frickin' pointless. I do have a lot of great time with this movie, though. There's a lot of just great practical effects and practical sets. We get the stop-motion animation of the dragon in the final, or at least, like, next to final battle scene in the castle, which... and nowadays definitely looks cheesy. Back then it was revolutionary, and it was something that you came to expect in a grand epic adventure like this. But those effects have definitely dated itself, and I'm very interested to see in this Willow TV series what the effects are going to be, and actually where Willow is going to be with his character. It's, what, 30, almost 40 years since that movie? What has become of Willow and this world, and of the child? Maybe we will find out in the TV show. But for those of you who are going to check it out, you definitely need to check out this movie first, just so you have an idea of who these characters are, and why bringing back these characters for a TV show on Disney Plus is so freaking cool, and it's so awesome, and there's so much nostalgia for me who grew up with this movie. I'm definitely going to check that out. I'm going to give Willow 3.5 out of 5 Blu-rays.
I am above average.
So guys, if you've seen Willow, what did you think about it? Or if you've never seen it before and you stumbled across it because of this video, then comment below, let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell. See you the next time I'm releasing my next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time on the channel, but in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.